we will pay homage to the Buddhas by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times before we start giving Dhamma Talk. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Today we are going to talk about 25 types of stealing, continuations of previous Dhamma Talk. We can find all these sources from Kanka Visuddhimagga Atthakatha by Venerable Buddha Kosa. So, when we are going to talk about stealing, especially for bhikkhus, is really very strict. So this rule is really very subtle. That's why we have to follow very strictly, also very respectfully. We have to work everything very carefully. So we are going to talk about 25 types of stealings. There are 5 groups. In each group, there are 5 factors or 5 types of stealings. We can also say 5 ways of stealing. The first one is Nana Bandha Panchaka. So this group covers stealing living or non-living things. Especially here in this group, we have to talk about non-living things first. Because later we will have Eka Bandha Panchaka, living things. So the first one here I use Adi in Pali. But when we are going to talk about Pali grammar, sometimes we also use Adiyana. It's like a Jarana. So Adiyana means bringing the case of lands to the courts. Then a bhikkhu must not bring any case like this to the courts. So a bhikkhu is not a landowner. Or maybe anybody is not a landowner, but he wants to own the lands of other people. Then he may have many other helpers. He may bring the case of the land to their courts. As soon as the bhikkhu brings the case to the court, it is a dukkata. So after long time process, maybe some other arguments in the court or something like that, then the landowner will have doubts about his ownership. Whether this belongs to me or this belongs to the bhikkhu. When the owner has doubt about his ownership, then the bhikkhu offends Tulachaya. But finally, the owner will give up. Oh, this does not belong to me anymore. Then it is parajika for bhikkhus. Similarly, when lay persons bring the case of land to the court, then it will be the same. When the owner give up, this is also stealing. So, in the commentary, it just mentioned about the land. But in the modern community, there are many other cases. For example, like a shop, house, maybe jewelries, golds, silvers, and many other non-living things. If we just trying to steal or trying to take other people's property, bring it the improper way, this is really called stealing. So when we bring any cases to the courts, when the real owner give up, then that is called stealing. the first type, Ariyeya. Sometimes we also use as Ariyana in Pali. So the next one is, we call in Pali Hareya or Harana. So in this case, when we are going to accept other people's belonging, we have to be very careful. Especially if someone instructs us their properties, then when they ask to return their properties, we may say, I don't have your properties. Or who do you give? When did you give? Something like this. We may ask many complicated questions, not willing to give it back to the owner. As we have the same offense mentioned in the Ariya, as soon as the owner have doubts about his ownership, it is offense. He offends Tonitaya. If the owner give up his ownership, also here, one more thing here. Sorry. This one is not, sorry, Hariya. Sorry, Hariya is not like that. When we are carrying, when we are, okay. When we are carrying other people's property, sorry. So this means if we are carrying other people's properties, then with intention to steal, we may change the place. For example, we will carry it with our heads, we will change to the shoulder, or we may shake. So in Parachikas, it's really very strict. As soon as we touch, it's Dukkata. If we shake, it's Tonitaya. If we change the locations, the place, it is Parachika. That's the very strict rules for bhikkhus. Okay, now the one I have said was the Avahariya. The one is okay, now willing to return people's properties, we say, no, I don't have your properties. Or when do you give? Something like that. Then when the owner have doubt is Tonitaya, then when the owner give up is Parajika. It depends on the price also. Then the next one is Iryapata Vikopaya. Iryapatan Vikopaya. Most of you also use like this. Then we also use the in Pali Iryapata Vikopana, like a Jarana. Okay, the main thing is sometimes the owner will ask somebody to bring the properties, right? Then he may ask, for example, the owner will bring the properties with a horse, for example. Then the thief will lead the horse to another directions. Then that is called stealing. Iryapata Vikopaya, changing the directions. So they are in the Parajika rules. It is a little bit different from lay persons. If the first steps move, it is a Tonitaya. The second steps, it is a Parajika. Sometimes carried by, ancient time they may also have a slave, right? Sometimes the slave will carry the properties, then the thief will mislead, or the thief will lead, or will direct different directions or wrong directions. Then it will be stealing, according to this types of stealing. Iryapata Vikopana. Then Thana Javaya. Thana Javaya is just moving the blades. For example, the owner keep his properties in somewhere, was on the table, they will keep money, they will put money on the table. Then the thief will touch it. If they could touch it, it's not allowed, right? Not allowable. So if they move, it is already stealing. Don't move other people's properties without their permission, without their consent. So here, one more thing here, when we are going to buy something in the bookstore or some other shop in modern community, then we should ask the owner or some responsible person to allow us to touch or to see, to check or something like that. Without their permission, we should not touch it. If we have intention to steal, this is the problem. Especially the price is really, very much problem. If the price is enough for Parajika, then this is Parajika for bhikkhus. Okay, the main thing is if we have intention to steal, then don't touch other people's properties. If we touch, it's also offense. If we shake, it's also offense. If we move, it's a stealing. Whether we get it or not, that is really very subtle for the bhikkhus. So this is the first group we can find in the Vinaya. Then we also have another groups, as we have mentioned before. Eka Bandha Panchaka, this group. So this group covers stealing living things. So as we have mentioned before, a bhikkhu will bring the case of a horse, a bull, or any animals, including slaves, to the courts. It is a dukkata. When the owner have doubts about his ownership, Tunajaya, when the owner give up his parajika. Then, as we have mentioned before, when we are carrying other people's properties, right? Then we will change the directions. Oh, sorry. Oh, this one is, we will steal the properties together with the carriers. For example, the bhikkhu will steal property together with animals. Right? We are carrying some husband, we have to, sometimes we are going together with goats or bullock or something like this. Then we were trying to drive bullock to different directions with the intention to steal. This is also called second type, as we have mentioned before. So in this case, owner is not nearby. They don't have any doubt about it. Another one is, okay, they may send some animals to the monastery. They may interest. Then the bhikkhu wishes to steal it. Then he may hide the animals somewhere. When the owner comes, he may say, "No, I don't have your properties. I don't have your animals in my monastery," something like that. As we have mentioned before, if the owner have a doubt about his ownership, Tunajaya, then when he give up, is Parajika. Then, as we have mentioned before, the changing directions of properties, right? Directions of the bulls or something like that. So we have two different things here. The first one is we carry. That means we are going together with bull or cart. It is previous one, Harana, Hareya. Now here in the Ijapata we copy means this not. We are not going together with any bull or cart or anything. We just see some bulls or cows are on the way, we may drive them to the direction we wish to go, then it will be the same as before. Similarly, Thana Jaweya. Sorry. Here we also like a Thana Jaweya means changing the Thana Jaweya moving the place. Moving the place. So the owner will keep his cows and bulls somewhere, right? In the stable or somewhere. Then the bhikkhu will send them to another direction, another place, with the intention to steal. This is called Thana Jaweya. So we have now two groups. The first groups covered non-living things. The second groups cover living things. Then we have the next groups, the next five. The one is Sahatika Panchaka. Sahatika means stealing by oneself. As we have explained previous week, sometimes when we raise ourselves to take over other people's properties, this is Sahatika. Anatika, too. That one is asking others to steal. This is also can be considered as stealing. Although we ask others to steal for us, this is also Adinadana. Actually, we have already mentioned previous week. Nisakiya, throwing away to avoid tax, etc. So, in modern community, it will be a little bit different from Buddha's time. For example, on the way, there will be checkpoints. So they will check whether we bring legal properties or illegal properties, something like that. But when we go overseas, in the customs, they will check what kind of properties we bring. If the property we bring are unallowable, we are not allowed to bring that one. Sometimes we will take it illegal way, improper way. That is also called Nisakiya. Nisakiya means we may throw somewhere, after that we will come and pick up. But in modern community, like airport, is almost impossible, right? Because their check-in system is really, really very good. Sometimes they also use the dog or many different equipment. That's why it's almost impossible in modern community. But ancient time, if there's a checkpoint, they will throw away somewhere, not very far from the checkpoint. After they will come to the checkpoint, then they will go another way and bring their properties to avoid the tax. So all these things also can be considered as a stealing. So sometimes we don't wish to pay the tax. Then we may avoid using many different excuses, many different ways. This is also can be considered here as a stealing. Then we also have to right? So we also have to know many other things like making signal or something like that, right? Then sometimes if there's the guard or police, right? We may hide somewhere. Then after that we will carry our properties. Sometimes we was like a black market area. We will bring our property to black market. Then this also sometimes avoiding the tax. But in Myanmar, we have some problem with the motorbike or car. Some cars, we don't have license. Actually, this means we avoid the tax. Some motorbikes, we don't have license. We also avoid pay the tax. All the things can be considered as a stealing. So this is the first part we have to know. Then similarly, we also have to say many other things. For example, sometimes they will use some animals. They will use They will keep some property in like together with their pets or something like that. They will carry their animals, right? They will hand to the animal's neck or something like that. This also can be considered as stealing. But there are many other ways. Ancient time, but in modern community, it's almost impossible to do like that. Because now our system is totally changed. Now every checkpoint, every check-in, they use very high technology. That's why this one is not very easy for modern society. Okay, now the next one is Atta Sadaka. So this means asking other to steal when proper. That means when is possible, then he asks him to steal other people's properties. So here it doesn't mention how to steal. Also, he doesn't mention when to steal. Whatever method he uses, or whenever he can do it, whenever possible to steal it, then he will steal. Then the people who command or order commit parajika. After recommendation, as soon as he commands other people or layperson. So let me, before we steal, although we haven't got any property yet, if the one we command is really, really smart to steal other people's property, and if he was going to do differently it, he's going to do it differently, then it's really called, it's called stealing, as soon as he commands or order. Another one is a Durani Kepa. The owner gives up or decides not to pay back. So here we have two different things. So in this case, we just make some like a mental abuse. The owner become very one has very depressions. Then finally he gave up his properties. So he will reject whatever things the owner said, give him many different excuses. For example, now in like loan properties, some people will loan their properties and they borrow properties. They don't wish to return, then ask the owner to give up. They force the owner to give up. Then that one can be considered as stealing. So again, we also have to understand many other things. But as we have mentioned before, we put something. Then the owner will give up. So all these things can be considered as stealing. Okay, so now here I also mentioned some parts. The first one we call Sahatika, right? They mentioned, although we don't steal other people's properties, but we're trying to destroy other people's properties. So if we have, or here I also mentioned some example, put a piece of cloth that can absorb or spill wine, water butter into an wine pot, cover parajika. So that means not only clothes, it can be any other materials. For example, sometimes when we use old slipper made of leather, we'll put the leather shoes into butter or wine. It was absorbed, it will spoil the wines. Although we don't get anything, but we just destroy other people's properties, this is also called stealing. According to previous 5, it's the first one. Sahajika. We destroy other people's properties. Similarly, when we ask other people to put piece of clothes or slipper or leather shoes into the wine, then the owner cannot use the wine anymore. That's also called anatika. So it can be any other materials we use to destroy other people's properties. Then, for about the last one, Dura Nikipa, we have already mentioned about the land or anything, living things or non-living things. When the owner give up, it is stealing other people's properties. Okay, so this one is very simple, not that much complicated. The next group, we have Pupa Payoga Panchaka. When we talk about Pupa Payoga, Pupa means previous or preceding. Payoga means actions. So the efforts prior to stealing. So it is similar to commanding others people to steal. Then we also have to know many different things in detail in this case. It depends on the thief. We will command or order a thief to steal. The thief is so smart that he could steal anytime. He will really do it. He will definitely do it. Then it will be parajika for him before the thief steals the properties. So another one is Sahapayoga. In changing the boundary, stones, poles, or pillar, something like that. The Sahapayoga means simultaneous actions. So in this case, it is changeable properties. It also can be unchangeable properties. So if it changeable properties, as soon as we move, is stealing. For unchangeable properties, for example, we are going to steal other people's land. They have boundary. Then they will maybe some like wooden post or maybe concrete post or something like that as a boundary. We may change the boundaries, although we say only a few inches. This is a stealing. So we wish to have wider area. We wish to make other people's narrower area. We just change our boundary a little bit. Then this is a stealing. This is called Sahapayoga. So this one can be many different situations according to the environments or the communities. Like very big lands in like Myanmar, we have many lands. There's a landowner. If we wish to get their lands, or if we want to make the boundary between their area and our area, especially now we have monastery, right? In my monastery, we also have a territory. So we have to make the things in our territory. Now we have to ask agreements, permissions from our neighboring landowner. If they agree, we can do it. If they say, no, this is not your land, this is our land, something like that, if we have some arguments, we should avoid it. So as a bhikkhu, the land is really very sensitive. Even 1 inch, right, is very deep. The value of the land is immeasurable. That's why it can be parajika. We must be very careful when we are going to talk about, when we are going to take or make a boundary. of our territory. Then the next one is Savita Vahara. Then we make an agreement and steal it. So yeah, it can be many people. They will agree, they will make agreements, or they will discuss together. For example, you must go this place, I will go this place. Then you should go to that direction, I should go that directions. After that, you must make this kind of signal. I will make this kind of signal. Then you must see this kind of thing, I will see this kind of things. They will make many agreements. Then they also say, when we have opportunity or when it is possible, we will steal. They will make agreements like that. When we have this kind of things, for example, 3 persons make agreements. 2 may not have opportunity. They cannot steal, but only 1 person can steal. 3 of them commit, they break the rules. I mean, they steal other people's properties. So this is called Savita Vahara, make an agreement and steal it. I mean, discussion each other, they make agreements. Although 1 person steal, 3 of them make mistakes, break the rules. The next one is Sanketa Kama, limiting the time. So in this case, there can be many other limitations. Here in the books, in the script, I just mentioned only one thing. If the monk who is encouraged steals, in the exact time, the director monk has committed parajika since he encouraged. This is the statement I have mentioned in the scripts. But there are many other things we can limit, not only the time. For example, there can be limiting the time, limiting the methods or the way to steal, or limiting the properties. It can be many other things like that. So there will be many other different process of stealing also. Actually, later we have to explain more in detail. Okay. So in this case, the director monks, the director bhikkhus or director were asked to stay in the morning, for example, but the thief stay only in the afternoon. So changing the time, not in the limited time. For bhikkhu, it's not stealing. That means for bhikkhu who order like this, but the changing is not the time he encouraged him or he direct him. That's why it's not parajika. Because he missed the time. Similarly, the method. You must see like this. He just guides the thief, everything in detail. But he will change the method of stealing. The director didn't break the rules. But if he did exactly what the director man said, it is parajika, according to the Vinaya rules. Another one is the properties. For example, if bhikkhu will ask the thief to steal the bowl, what he asks is a stainless steel bowl, for example, but the thief just steals only clay bowl or iron bowl. That is something changing. The director does not break any rules. If the thief still as he directed, it will be parajika. So if we just say, whenever you have time or whatever method you use, whatever property you get, it doesn't matter, just steal. If we have this kind of recommendations, it is a parajika. Whatever method he used, it is not allowable for the bhikkhus. Then we have with the last one in this group. This one we call nimitta kamma. I am blinking or engaging signal or signal to still. So this is the only very simple things here we have to set. So for example, if I shake my head, then you can still. Or if I if I cough, for example, you can see something like this. They will have some signal in between thief and the dreaded monks. So if the thief still as he directed exactly, then this is also called stealing other people's properties. Then the last group we call Teya Vahara Panchaka. So again, here we have to explain very many different things again. The first one is Teya Vahara. Teya Vahara means cheating others, reducing weight, measure, container, and so on. It will be a little bit different from one place and another place. In modern society, for example, reducing weight. Sometimes they will cheat with their scale, then they will cheat with many other ways. Then similarly, measurements. It depends on the cup we use, right? They give different measurements. Container, for example, water bottle. Okay, for example, we may have water bottle, for example, 1 liter water bottle, but they reduce a little bit smaller. Maybe not fully 1 liter. This is called reducing container, right? But this is also called stealing. So they will sell was 1 liter price, but their water is not 1 liter. Similarly, wine, petrol, or diesel, or any other things, we have used the container, then they will reduce. Then this is called stealing. Not only that, there are many other ways to cheat like this. Mostly we understand cheating is musawada, right? But here cheating is if we cheat other people for some profits to get something, this is actually adinadana, not musawada. So, 2, Pasasya Vahara, focusing and bullying others. So when a bhikkhu bullies people, like a king or leader, it can be Pasasya Vahara. So we may force other people, we may pressure other people to keep their properties like a bandits, robbers. It will be. It also called stealing. So the main thing is here we have to know very simple things. As soon as the owner have to give something unwillingly, it is called stealing. So, okay, now one more thing here. We have to know that one. The king or any powerful people, Or they may have some weapons. By showing weapons, they will take other people's properties. Or by frightening others, they will force other people to give. The owner is not willing to give their properties, then this is also called Patisambhidamagga. So we have the next one. That is, we call Parikapavahara, limiting item and the place. Okay, here actually I have in the script I mentioned many different possibilities. So a monk went to steal an upper robes, but unfortunately he could not differentiate upper robes or double robes in the dark room. And thinking double robes and robe as upper robes, he bring it. That is not a parajika. I mean, this is not really called stealing yet. When knowing that it was not very thin, he went. He changed his mind, thinking, whatever thin I get, I will not return. This is called stealing. So in the very beginning, we have limitation, but later we change the minds. Then similarly, in my previous Dhamma Talk, I also have said something similar to that. If there's no owner in one house, then a thief will enter and he will see many different things and he will check all the area. If somebody see, he will return and he will say, oh, I just trying to see. Then if nobody see, he will steal, for example. Sometimes the thief and the owner are friends. The thief will check many properties of his friends. When the owner see what I'm doing and asks, then he may say, I'm just trying to have a look your properties. I'm interested in something like that. He may say something a bit, right? The normal way, formal way. But if the owner cannot see it, he will take away. So when we have this kind of cases, here we call Parikapavahara. So not only that, sometimes he may bring some property in the hands. When the owner saw it, or when the owner sees it, he will say, no, I just want to borrow your properties. Or I will return soon, something like that. Sometimes they may limit the place. For example, from the house to the fence. If nobody see, I will take away. Or I will throw away. If somebody see, I will return. When he has that kind of mind, as soon as he passed the area he limited, is a stealing. So sometimes they may hide the properties, nobody can see. Right? In this case, whether he limit the area or not, as soon as he try to take it, it is stealing. So similarly, as we have mentioned before, if I can get the clothes, like a blanket, but if I can get blankets, I will still limit the place, the properties. So later he changed minds that he will bring the properties. This also can be considered as a stealing, as we have mentioned before. Okay, now we have 24th. That one is like Brichana, Vahara, cover other people's properties with the sand or grass, etc. So it will be in the crowded area or somewhere. For example, now in modern community in the beach, right? There are many people. Then somebody's rings or earrings or maybe some valuable properties are on the sands, right? It's visible, but with the intention to steal, a bhikkhu or anybody will step on it or cover it with the sand. When the owner comes back and look for his properties, you cannot find. As soon as he has intention to come back or look for it, or search for it, it's okay. When he give up, it's also parajika. So there can be many other things similar to that. So sometimes the owner puts their property somewhere, then the thief will cover the property with other things. For example, in the bedroom, in the bedroom, they can cover with the blankets, pillow, maybe towels or anything. Then the owner cannot see it. This is also called stealing. So, okay, briefly, if we hide other people's properties with the intention to steal, in order that the owner may not see it, it is called stealing. Then we have the last one, kusavahara, changing draw lots and scripts. So this one can be very complicated because it has mentioned according to Asian traditions. In modern community, we can understand like it's identity theft. For example, I have to register my computer with my name. Then, like is other people have to come and also register with his name. The same computer, they're changing the name. This is called identity theft. Not only that, sometimes we may have like a description in the books or something like that, sticker in the book, something like that. So, okay, for example, I have one small booklet. I have my sticker. This is my name with the sticker in the books. But if he will come and pick up and he will remove the sticker, he will use his own sticker, changing the name. When I come back, I cannot find my books. Sometimes they may use similar books, for example. Right? Similarly, similar clothes, similar computer, similar telephone. It can be many other similar things. Then they were put together in one place. I have some of them have their name, label their name, and then in their telephone, for example. There are many similar telephone, the same brands, the same size, the same cover. One of the thieves will come and change the label. Then when the owner come back, he's gonna find his telephone. This is also called kusavahara. Then, okay, this is the part we have to explain, or we just mentioned today, because it will be many other things to explain about thief, about the stealing. As we have mentioned before, in the case of Panadipada, it depends the value of the properties. We may have different offense, different types of karma. If the property we steal is very low value, then we will have very weak karma. If it's really very valuable, we have heavier karma. It depends on the owner of the properties again. If the owner is moral person, he's a virtuous person, if we steal his property, it will be heavier offense, heavier karma. If he's not virtuous, it will be lighter karma, not that much heavy karma. As we have mentioned before, it depends on our defilements. So if we have intention to steal, our mind is too strong that we cannot stand without stealing. Then it will be heavier. Then again, effort, right? We have made stronger efforts. In the case of Panadipada also, we have already mentioned, if we have weaker efforts, weaker karma. If we have stronger efforts, stronger karma. If we have weaker defilements, weaker karma. If we have stronger defilements, there will be stronger karma. In the same way, when we are breaking the second precepts, adinatana, it depends on our defilements and our efforts. It can be weaker karma and stronger karma. Then we also have the next groove about, I think I just sent the stanza there, right? So when we are going to talk about the stanza there, we have like a other human beings. This means if we talk about stealing, it must be other human beings' properties for bhikkhus. But it also can be like a knowing other people's property, something like that. Then if we have this kind of intention to steal, then it will be parajika. But here we have some other things about. Sometimes we think that it's our own properties. We will take other people's properties because of different perceptions. It's not really called stealing. For example, we may have umbrella, the same brand, the same size, but we don't label our names on it. We will keep together. Thinking, oh, this is my property, I take it. But this is not mine, this is other people's. This is not really called stealing. This is called sakasanya. Otherwise, vesasakaha, close friends' properties. Sometimes we have very many close friends. They are very close to us that whatever thing we use, their properties. Whatever their property we use, they are happy with it. In this case, although we use their properties or we take their properties, it's not stealing. Another one is tawakalika, borrowing or loaning. When we borrow other people's properties, sometimes with the intention to borrow other people's properties, we just take. In this case, we don't have intention to steal. That's why it's no offense. Then now is the beta breaker, ghost properties. So ghost properties means in modern community, I think even in China or in Vietnam or like Indonesia, many of Chinese people, they may have some donation to their parents in the cemetery, And now I think they don't use real money. They have special paper for it, maybe. Or they may also use some other material, like for example, food or something like that. Then somebody will be hungry. There's some people here, they are hungry. They will take the food and eat. They will take the juice, drink, something like that. It's not stealing because this is beta's properties. The owner is beta, not their family member anymore. That's why it's not really stealing. For about bhikkhu parajika, here mentioned animals' properties. This for bhikkhu parajikas. If bhikkhu take animals' properties, then this is not parajika. For example, a lion will hunt a deer. Then bhikkhu will chase out the lion and take the deer. And he will ask Kapilya to bring the deer to the monastery, just cut into pieces, cook, something like that. Okay, the main thing is here. There's some other restrictions for it. Also, if the lion hunts the deer, we let him eat for a while. Because he's too tired, he's hungry, that's why he hunts. So after eating, the lion will leave. Then the bhikkhu can take the properties, the deer. So this is called animals' properties. So although animals' properties, we must have compassion towards animals. That's the way we have to practice according to Vinaya. The Pansukula, Sanyi, red ropes or rats. Okay, in this case, we just think that this is somebody throw away these properties. We may find, for example, we may find a telephone beside the roads. Notice around there. Also, for example, like some crash on the telephone. People on the bhikkhu will think, oh, this is the old one, unused one. They throw away. I can still use. So he will take the old telephone. In this case, this is the Pansukula Sanyi, not stealing. So if sometimes we think somebody throw away that one, but it's still usable for us, we will take it. It's not stealing. This is called Pansukula Sanyi. We don't have intention to steal. So Omatakati, sometimes crazy people will take their properties. That in this case, it's not really called stealing. Okay, so the main thing is when we are going to check whether we are stealing or not, we must know all these situations. These properties belong to whom? Belong to human being, animals, Vedas, and so forth. If it just belongs to a ghost or an animals, it's allowable to take it. Even for bhikkhu, it's allowable to take it. Okay, now we have the last part about how to decide according to Vibhanga. In the Vibhanga, we have one stanza mentioned, Vattom kalanja desanja ekam paribhoga panchama. Tulahitawa pancha thanani dhareya tan and dhareya tan vichakano. That is the statement mentioned in the Vibhanga. So when we are going to talk about stealing, especially for bhikkhus, we have to know the value or the price of the properties. If the property is valuable enough or too much valuable, very high price, then it will be parajika. It's just a little value, this is not really parajika. So here we talk about the vatu. Vatu means the material. What kind of material it is? Is it valuable material or unvaluable material? Another one is kala, the time. Sometimes it's high price, sometimes it's lower price. For example, when we are in good conditions, the gold price, for example, gold price will be a little bit cheap. When in the crisis, it will be a little bit higher. Now in Myanmar, it's a little bit higher. Similarly, like the price of rice or veggie or beans or any other products. In the good conditions, it's a little bit cheaper. In the crisis, it's become a little bit higher price. So it depends on the time we can decide the price. Then another one is the place. For example, mango fruits, right? Mango fruits. The price of a mango fruits in Myanmar and the price of mango fruits in Korea will be totally different. Similarly, the price of mango in Thailand and Myanmar also different. It depends on the place. We may have different price, different value. For example, now, okay, another thing is banana. Banana in Myanmar, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, and the banana in Korea will be different price. Okay, the main thing is that the place, according to the place, it will be different price. The another one is with the price. It is the price. So in this case, we just need to know is expensive or cheap. We just need to know very simply. Then the use and unused. If totally new, so some blankets or some clothes, they will come with the package. As long as we don't open the package, it's new. After opening it, it's not new anymore. Some of the store, some of the like a store or some of the shops, they will allow as long as you don't open the pack. After opening the pack, you are not allowed to exchange the clothes like that. Anyway, the main thing is, according to all these 5 conditions, we have to decide is parajika or not. Okay, we have one example mentioned in Vinaya. It happened in Sri Lanka. The one bhikkhu know how to polish coconut shell. In Sri Lanka, coconut, you can find coconut everywhere. Coconut shells are free. You don't need to buy coconut shell. Now I'm not sure, right? Ancient time, they don't need to buy any coconut shell. They will throw away anywhere. We can remove all the cover. After that, we can get shell easily. If we could polish his coconut shell, it's become very beautiful. Then he left the one in one place. Another bhikkhu visit there. He found the coconut cup. Really, very, very beautiful coconut cup. It's like coconut shell, right? Is it not a cup? He take it. One day, the previous owner met the bhikkhu who take, or maybe the thief bhikkhu, we can say that thief bhikkhu. Then he bring the bhikkhu to the senior. He steal my properties. He breaks second parajikas. Then he decided with these 5 material is coconut shell. The time is not the time of right crisis or anything. That the place is in Sri Lanka. The price is free. Use is already used. Only one thing is a job, polishing. He just asked how much it will cost for polishing the coconut shell. It's also not that much valuable. That's why it's not parajika. So this is the way we have to decide when we are going to talk about stealing. Okay, now this is the last part. Okay, now I should stop here, right? Sorry. So all these are mentioned in Vinaya for the bhikkhus. Then layperson also can follow these rules. As I have mentioned before in previous week, when we are going to talk about stealing other people's properties, there are 5 factors. It's other people's properties. We also know it's other people's properties. We have intention to steal. We make actions. After that, we get it. If we have accomplished these 5, it's stealing. But there are many different types of stealing according to Vinaya. If we have done one of the 25, then this is called actions. So, okay, today I think it's more than 1 hour. So next week I have to continue another precepts. May you all be able to practice the training of Sila, Samadhi, and Panya. As a result of it, may you all be able to realize the inner suffering, final situations, Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu.
Shadow, there are some Dhamma book translated by Bhikkhu, and those books are also for free distribution. And if someone scan those Dhamma books and share on the internet for free, not for commercial, without the translator permission, does she commit stealing?
Okay, so you cannot get any profits. This is not, we cannot say this is also stealing. One more thing is, if the owner is happy what you are sharing, it doesn't matter. So he himself use, his is a free distribution, right? In this case, we cannot say stealing. Okay?
Manamisiado, this question is regarding this Pali paragraph. She would like to know the meaning of this paragraph. From Samyutta Nikaya, Nidana Wako, Nidana Samyutta Ahara Wako. Dvaya nistito kwayang kachana, loko yebuyena, ati danjeva nati danja, loka samudayang ko kachana, yatha budang samapanyaya pasato, ya loke natita sana hoti. Loka nirodango kachana, yatha budang samapanyaya pasato, ya loke atita sana hoti. So, she would like to know the meaning of this Pali paragraph. Why is that? That's if if he try to, yeah.
Oh, this one is from Visuddhimagga Samyutta Kachana Kotta Sutta, right?
Yes.
Kachana Kotta Sutta. So, okay, so here I should go and see in the commentary first. Okay, please wait for a while. This is Visuddhimagga Samyutta. Okay.
Nidana Wako, Nidana Samyutta.
Okay. Here, one more thing. Yeah, Atitancha, Natitancha, right? The main point is this two. Atita means Sasta Ditti. Sasta Ditti means eternal view. Atita means Uchita Ditti. That is annihilation view. It mentioned these two. If you can understand these two, you can also understand, right? This loka, Traya Nisita, right? Depends on these two. So that means many are wrong you come from these two. So they have mentioned loka samudaya. Loka means sankhara loka. So the risings of sankhara loka. The samapanyaya pasado, that means vipassana panya or magga panya. That means by understanding it with path knowledge or inside knowledge. Right? So I think this one is enough for this one, right? What's the question he wants to ask? The one?
I think she would like to ask, why is that through this wisdom to discern Yatha Bhutang Samapanyaya, when she discern Loka Samudayang, then it say Natita Sa Na Hoti. But when they discern Loka Nirodha, then it becomes Atita Sa Na Hoti.
Okay. So that means Loka Samudaya and Atita, right? Opposite. Sorry? Loka Samudaya and Loka Samudaya and?
If Loka Samudaya, then Natita Na Hoti.
Natita. Okay, Natita. Okay, Natita. Okay.
If Loka Nirodha, it becomes Atita Na Hoti.
Okay. So these two are opposite, Opposite means Samudaya is the horizon stage. If we talk about horizon stage, we're going to say Natita. Okay, here in this case, we have to know the momentary horizon and variations. We can also know two different things. The first one is complete variations, no momentary variations, momentary horizons. Okay. The first one is horizons and Natita. This is called annihilation view, right? Another one is variation states and eternal view. These two are opposites. That's when they can overcome these two wrong views by practicing Uddiyabhaya Jnana, horizon state and variation state of Sankhara. Okay?
According to Visuddhimagga, there is this sentence, Yo chayang upannang kama vitakang nadivasi diyadina nayena agato ayang virya samvaro nama. So she would like to know the meaning of this Pali sentence, and is Ajiva Parisuddhi Sila included in this context or not?
Okay. This one is from Visuddhimagga, right?
Yes.
I should go to Visuddhimagga first. Visuddhimagga, this is it. Sila Nirisa. Samvaro. Can you repeat the Pali?
Yes, Yado. Yo chayang upannang kama vitakang nadi vasedi diyadina nayena agato ayang virya samvaro. I think under virya samvaro.
Okay, I see. Okay, I see. Yo chayang upannang kama vitakang nadi vasedi means he cannot bear, right? Adivasiti means he cannot bear kama vitaka, the sensual thought, etc. That means sensual thoughts of evil, thoughts of cruelty. If he cannot bear these three, then this is called, if he can, Nadivasiti. Adivasiti. Okay, so that means he is not influenced by sensual thoughts and also thoughts of evil, thoughts of cruelty. This is called Viriya Samvara. He uses his mind power not to be influenced by three wrong thoughts. This is called Viriya Samvara. Okay? Next one.
Namisiado, her question is regarding abortion. Nowadays, there are many people go for abortions, and those people who those women who have aborted their baby, can they ordain as a nun, as a CLA, or ordain as a Mahayana Samaneri or Bhikkhuni? And what would they, in their next life, would they face the karmic result of abortion? Would they be aborted in their next life? And how many lives they should practice in order to get the man body, to become a man?
So for our ordinations, this is not really big problem. As long as she does not abort after ordination, it doesn't matter, right? As the ordained person, if she had to abort, this is really very serious offense. like layperson, she may abort. After that, she may ordain as a Mahayana or Theravada or anything. It doesn't matter. This is okay. But what about the karma? After doing mistakes, there's a karma. We cannot avoid it. Only one thing we can decide, I will not do the same mistake anymore. There's only one thing we can release from that kind of mistakes. I cannot say how many lives do we have to fulfill parami to be Amen. One more thing here. So if you are dutiful housewife, that means you have two sila. Chaita sila, varita sila. When we talk about 5 desires, is it varita, right? Prohibited. We have to follow it without doing it. Then there's also charita sila. That means we have duties of housewife, duty of bhikkhu, duties of nuns, duty of husband, duties of children, something like that. If we can fulfill all the duties, then you can be reborn as a man. Right? It depends on many other factors also. Okay?
On Namisiado, he says he wants to confess that he has been killing many ants because there are many ants on the wall of her kitchen. Because and also because of the time she doesn't know the wrongdoing of killing. That's why he killed many little creatures. So now he aware and he try to confess and repent in front of Sayadaw and all the practitioners. She understands her mistakes and will not kill any beings in the future. And she also accumulates many kusala karma, releasing life, feeding and protecting wildlife and so on, and advising others not to kill. So she would like to know what other things she should do.
Okay, this is good enough for now. You yourself avoid, you also encourage other people to avoid it. It's okay, this is good enough. Right? Now, if you wish to improve yourself more, just meditate. This is good enough. Okay?
Sayadaw, nowadays, there are many recording devices. If someone secretly records others' discussion without permission, is this also considered as stealing? With regard to this question again, if the condition or organizer does not allow recording due to, for example, privacy of participant, will it be considered as stealing if we record secretly?
Sure, this is also called breaking perception. Right? If somebody don't allow, we cannot do it. If owner allow, we can do it. Sure, we can say this is a kind of stealing. That next one.
Namisiado, the question is if someone if someone did not see a snake on the road and accidentally step on it and cause the death of the snakes, would that consider, she knows this is not panadibada, but would there be any akusala karma, and what will be the effect in the future?
Actually, you don't have intention to kill. Your mind is pure. We cannot say bad karma. But one more thing after that, don't regret too much. Right? If you regret too much, it's akusala again. Because as long as you have pure mind, just let it be. Okay?
Manamisiado, this is regarding silk. He says the production of silks will cause the death of many silkworms.
Yeah.
So if someone involved in the industry of silk making, for example, she's a designer, would she commit any killing karma? So if the designer's intention is just to develop the skill of her students and to cultivate parami only, would she bear the associated karma of this killing? And is it true that silk also allowed for bhikkhus' robes making?
Actually, okay, so in this case, if you have to order the silk, right, from the, like, how do they call this one? The wood collector, right? If you have to order, then they have to boil the silk for you, or they have to kill the ones for you. It will be panadipata. As long as you don't have to order any material like that, we cannot say it's killing animals or killing. We cannot say it's a panadipata. Okay, so in the case of panadipata, I have already said before, we ourselves kill, we ask other people to kill for us. Like in this, your case, if you have to order, then you ask them to kill for you. This is the second thing you have to consider. Otherwise, you agree to kill. So that means if they ask, do you have to kill? Then if they say yes, this you agree, right? That kind of things. Then you are happy when somebody kill for you. Then this is called Panadipada. If you are free from these four, we're going to say Panadipada. Okay?
Vandami Siado, this is regarding the previous Dhamma talk. Siado talked about Kandi. This Kandi, real actual meaning means to let the mind free. So she would like to know what is the source reference of this saying. Kandi is letting the mind free and not holding it.
Okay, so here we have have to think about the one. Adivasana Kandi, you know. Adivasana Kandi means although we have ability to do revenge or to seek revenge, we don't do it. We just let our mind free. This is called Adivasana Kandi. I mean, endurance or accepting all the situation without any response. When our mind is free, it can be, right? So we cannot say the parivar free, right? Parivar free is a vimukti or something like that. Yeah, examination, Adivasana Kandi. Okay, this is called, okay?
Sado, Venerable Angulimala killed 999 people, and the last one wanted to kill his mother, making up 1,000 people. The question is, to meet the compassionate Buddha to speak for Angulimala, what great good deeds have been done that led to the appearance of this great good result?
Actually, Angulimala is a very kind person when he was young. You may not know his real name. His real name is Ahinsaka. You know, Ahinsaka means Hinsa means torture. A means no torture. That means very kind young boy, right? Very kind boy. This is called Ahinsaka. So actually, he has very long time fulfilling parami already. Because of associations, he made mistakes. That's why he can see the Buddha easily. This is the one thing, right? So another thing is that we have to, frequently we have to talk about Vijja seed and Charana seeds. Vijja seed means we have to practice at least like a 4-element meditations or Vipassana. That's called Vijja seed. Then although we practice Vipassana, if we have intention to be reborn, or if we just make aspiration to be reborn in higher destination, or we just wish to be richer or higher people, this is not really called Vijja, because this is a Charana contact. So another one is contact. Contact means Sila, morality, Samadhi, concentration, and Vipassana. If we practice with intention to be reborn in higher destinations or something like that, all are called with the Charana seeds, contact. If we practice Vipassana to attain Nibbana, this is called Vijja seeds. If we have accumulated or if we have fulfilled this kind of parami, we can see the Buddha. We can also attain arhatship. It depends on how long we do or how smart we are in doing this kind of parami. Okay?
What kind of Arahant parami have been accumulated in the past, and he can become the fruit of Arahant achievement in this life?
I have already answered this question, right? Vijja seed and Charana seeds. This is true. Okay?
The second part of this question in Majjhima Nikaya 086 Angulimala, Tiso Vijja Anupata Katang Buddha Sasanangti. The Vijja, three brightness, have been obtained, and all the teaching of the Buddha have been made. From the scripture, Venerable Angulimala has attained is the Vijja, three brightness Arahantship, not the Chala Binya, 6 power, nor the Patisambhidamagga unobstructed solution. Is this correct?
Yeah, sure. If we just talk about Dhamma, it's only Dhamma. It doesn't mention Salabina or yeah, sure, it's right.
Dạ đó. Kujutara was a slave born into a slave family and was the maid servant of Princess Samawati. King Udena gave her 8 gold coins a day as the cost of buying flour for Samawati. However, she only bought 4 gold coins a day, and the other 4 gold coins were taken by herself. Now, the question, so she is often committing the karma of stealing, but she achieved the Sotapatti Pala only after listening to the Buddha's teaching. And still Uga Titanu or Vipachitanu way of witnessing the Sotipatti Pala. The question now, why didn't Kujutara theft karma constitute a hindrance to her attaining the holy food in this life?
Okay. So it will be 2 different situations between laypersons and a bhikkhu, right? For layperson, they don't have any special process to confess. For bhikkhus, we have special process to confess. For example, if we make minor mistakes, by confession, we can release from the offense. We can recover from the offense. If we have a little bit heavier offense, for example, like a Nisakya Pachitya, we have to relinquish something, unlawful things, after that confess. If we come like a Sanghadisisa, there are some provision. After that, we can, if Sangha accepts, then we can be just normal bhikkhu. So we have to follow all this process as a bhikkhu. This is the difference. For about layperson, they don't need this kind of confections. They don't have any special process to be immoral. When we have evil minds or bad minds, we can be immoral anytime. When we have good minds, we can be moral anytime. So in the case of Kujutara, we have a one thing. Everybody should know the one. In Pali, we call Ayatin Samvara Citta. Ayatin Samvara Citta means I will never do the same mistakes anymore. When we have this kind of mind or this kind of determination, he's a moral. In the case of Kujutara, while listening, she may regret because of stealing other people's properties. He may regret for stealing, right? The king's properties. But she may decide on the spot, I will not steal anymore. When she listens with pure mind, then she could take Sotapanna. Right? As she determined, then she won't speak. She wouldn't steal any properties, right? So the main thing is determination for lay devotees. As we determine if we follow, we are moral. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, the Abhidhamma Pitaka says that the next moment of the path consciousness is the fruition consciousness, and there is no gap in between. But the Sutta Pitaka do not clearly point out that the saying that the next moment of the path consciousness is the fruition consciousness. Or where can I find the source? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Do you know Akaliko? In the quality of Dhamma, says quality of Dhamma, Akaliko is very clear for everyone, right? This means no gaps, no interval between path and fruition knowledge. Okay?
Madam Sayadaw, this is regarding the Anapanasati practice. She says that is there any reading material for practical Anapanasati guidance, step-by-step guideline? Because she said that without this, she cannot decide what are the do's and don'ts that she should avoid or should do during meditation. She has this opinion that one should understand the subject of anapanasati meditation before interview. Interview is just to give feedback to the teacher, her actual practice. So basically she asked for the material of this anapanasati practice, step by steps guidelines.
Okay, so you can also find all these guidelines in Visuddhimagga. This is we can find in English very easily. Next one is in Patisambhidamagga Anapana chapter. It's very much in detail about the practice. There it will mention what you have to avoid. So there will be 6 groups, I think. Sorry, there will be 3 groups. In each group, there will be 6 factors. Altogether, 18 impurities of anapanasati. Then there is also some purity of anapanasati. Also, it will mention many different steps of anapanasati. This in Patisambhidamagga. So in Visuddhimagga, it will mention how to practice, how to follow. Also, they mention we have only these 2 booklets, especially hard copy to learn, or soft copy also we can learn from these 2 books. So if we study other books, so for example, like Anapanasati Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya, it will mention many different steps of practice. But some of the steps are not that easy to understand because this is very deep meaning of Buddha's teaching. Okay, so if we say in brief, you can study in Patisambhidamagga and Visuddhimagga in 2 books, right?
Sayadaw, we'd like to make a request to Sayadaw to explain this topic in detail and also give example with regards to Pa'ao teaching system. Also, if possible, Sayadaw, please also explain the content from Pa'ao Sayadaw Nibbanagami textbook. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, so I also plan to explain for the Nibbanagami.
Nami Sayadaw, the question is if a teacher not agree a person to listen to his talk, but another person secretly invite this particular person to come and attend the class. So would she commit any offense or break any precepts?
Dhamma Talk is also like that kind of culture have. This is a little strange to me also. Okay, in this case, it's you don't see anything, right? Dhamma Talk. Dukkha. Oh, one more thing, in the case of Dhamma Talk, if you have to pay money, this is the problem. If you have to pay money, it doesn't matter, right? Dukkha.
If we see a book on the table in a friend's house and we take and read without asking, is it stealing if we are not bhikkhu?
So in this case, as long as you don't have intention to steal, it doesn't matter. This is also your friends, right? In this case, if they are happy with your reading, it doesn't matter. Although they disagree, but you just see it and just touch it or with very simple mind, without any intention to steal, it doesn't matter. It's not stealing. Okay?
Dear Sayadaw, in the case where bhikkhu directly and indirectly hinting to Dayaka to offer a land without invitation, in such case, is it considered stealing?
A bhikkhu, what is a bhikkhu?
A bhikkhu directly or indirectly hinting
I see.
to Dayaka to offer a land without invitation.
In this case, it doesn't matter. So just hinting, right? It doesn't matter. So this is not really good. This is not good behavior, not good manner, but it's not stealing. It's okay.
About Pasayavahara, forcing and bullying others. The bhikkhu teacher, he asked for disciple land by saying, I taught you Dhamma, you should repay me. And the teacher asked the disciple land in a very forceful way. Is this stealing? What level of offense is this?
The land, you mean?
Yeah.
The land? Oh, yeah, the lands are very expensive, right? We cannot do like this. So if we cannot force children to offer the land or to give him land, right? If the land is like a forcefully they could try to accept the land, this is a very heavy offense.
Dear Sayadaw, if a person always has habit to borrow money from others and says that she will return later, but she not return yet or never return, is this considered stealing? But she can say she not returned yet.
Yes, but if this is like a cheating. This is also stealing. If she decided she will never return, this is stealing.
Dear Sayadaw, when I stay in Pa'ao Monastery, I often lost my umbrella during raining day. According to the local yogis there, they explain because they think we are living in a community like a family. So it is not stealing. It is just borrow. My umbrella never return. Sometimes only see them in another building or somewhere. Is this stealing?
Actually, in this case, your own properties, then nobody can take it. If they take it, this is stealing. We cannot say the family or anything like that, right? If Sangha property, we can say it's a borrowing. But if your own property, we cannot say borrowing.
Yes, stealing others' wife or husband, is this also stealing?
So it will be other people's wife, right? This is a Kamsumi. Similarly, other people's husband, you can also imagine what will happen. Right?
Question 21, Sayadaw. Dear Sayadaw, for example, in supermarket, there are many things displayed for sales. If a bhikkhu take and check the item before deciding to buy it, is this considered as stealing since he moved the item?
Okay, here we have to consider the intention to steal. If he has intention to steal, this is a moving the item, this is a parajika. He just touched. The only one problem is he didn't ask permission from the owner. This is the problem, right? We're gonna, one more thing. In this case, we have to understand the intention, 5 factors. Other people's properties, perception of other people's properties, intention to steal, make actions, and he got it. He take it. So we have to consider with these 5 factors in this case. So since he does not have any intention to steal, is no offense. If he had intention to steal, this is offense. Okay.
Wandami Sayadaw, good evening. Please, Sayadaw, explain again about stealing time for monk and lay person with example in daily life. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, in daily life, as long as we don't cheat other people, as bhikkhu, right, for our own profits, then we may try to persuade people, try to get profit from the devotees improperly, right? This is also called stealing. Then similarly for lay person, if we try to earn something improperly, this is called stealing. The main thing is if donor have to give unwillingly, this is a stealing. Sometimes although donor give you willingly, but you cheat it, right? Then this is also improper way. So briefly, don't cheat other people. Don't try to earn something improper from other people. For laypersons or for bhikkhus, is really the mistakes in the community. Also very harmful for communities. Okay.
Wandami Sayadaw, if his working unit provide them this handphone, but it didn't mention that it should be used in working time only. It didn't mention at all. So she used this handphone for her personal issue without any intention to steal. Would that consider stealing?
Okay, so in this case, you must make it clear, right? So if the owner allows, especially like a person like your boss, allowing you to use anywhere, or if he is happy when you are using all these properties, it doesn't matter. We cannot say stealing. Now this is your mind. Make your mind pure. It will be okay.
When if someone go to buy something from the supermarket, so she take more than one plastic bag, would that consider stealing?
Okay. If the owner give you willingly, we cannot say stealing. If the owner have to give you unwillingly, this is stealing. Okay.
When he says on the tree there are many insects. So as a gardener, how should he do? Without killing those insects, the tree may die.
What about prevention before they come? Is it possible? Is it possible trying to get some like protections or prevention? Instead of killing, if you can prevent, it's much better, right?
Sayadaw, is downloading license, patent document, films, movie, photo, etc. considered stealing that will result in parajika for bhikkhu? Thank you, Sayadaw.
For downloading means, this is also a little bit complicated issue in modern society. Like a YouTube video, some YouTube video are not allowed to download, right? If they don't allow you, we're going to download anymore. This is one thing. So some books, if they are not allowed to, some also it depends on the website or the owner. So in this case, if the owner disagrees or they have like a copyright, something like that, copyright, then if the owner didn't allow to download or do, they didn't allow for personal use without payment, then we should not download. So if we have ways to use, we have to pay for the benefit of our sila. So without any payments, if we download illegally or there is some other different way, right, to get that material, then this is a little bit risky for bhikkhus. It depends on the value that we can decide. Okay.
This question in Vietnamese, so I will translate. Yeah. Thưa Ngài if somebody offer the allowable request in the big value to the Sangha, allowable request to the Sangha in according to the Vinaya, and after that, the Abbot Bhikkhu have some quarrel with the lay devotee, the donor, and then the whole Sangha already decide to return return that allowable request back to the lay people, the donor. But in actual fact that the Sangha didn't know about the returning of the allowable request, which is the donor offer. And then this donor, thinking that all the Sangha already agree to return my donation. So she think that can transfer this donation to the orphan house, to the others, the kids and the people who has homeless people. But later on, hành động tứ vật dụng của chúng ta trả lại cho người cư sĩ. But actually, the bhikkhu, the Abbot Bhikkhu, he don't have the Sangha permission, don't have the agreement of the Sangha to return all those donations. So in this case, did he commit parajika?
Yes. Oh, big value, right?
Yeah, big value said, oh yes.
Okay, this one is a little bit risky, sure. This kind of case is very risky for bhikkhus. So Sangika properties, also this one is a very, very subtle, you know. He also cheats Sangha, he also cheats devotees, two sides. Okay, so this is a little bit risky. I should not say parajika or anything, right? You can imagine what kind of thing can happen because big value, right? So one more thing here I have to say for your considerations. So I should not say somebody as a parajika or anything, right? I should not say that kind of thing easily. That's why I will not say parajika or not. The main thing is, if Sangha properties, although the apostles ask permission from Sangha, this is almost impossible. The Sangha properties, right? Also, this is the longer requisites. So he doesn't have any authority to return to the owner. This is really, really, very, very risky. Then another thing is that Sangha properties, although it was stolen by thief, it's still Sangika. It cannot be his personal use anymore. So this is really, really, very, very risky. Okay.
Vandamisiado, this question follows the question previously, means for someone who have done abortion, this is considered killing. So why is that someone who has done killing human being can still ordain? And Angulimala has killed 999 persons. Mm-hmm. He can also ordain.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So surely we have some rules and regulations. For example, if they kill their parents, they are not allowed to ordain. Then if they have, 5 weighty karma, 5 weighty karma, 5 mighty karma, if they have already committed 5 mighty karma, they are not allowed to ordain. This is one thing. So if we talk about killing, right? Killing parents, killing an arahat, then only these 3 kinds of killing are not allowed to be ordained as a bhikkhu or as a samnera. That's why all other killings are allowed, because they are layperson. Everybody can make mistakes as ordinary people. As long as we don't make very serious mistake, then it's longer to ordain. Okay?
Vandamisiado, if the organizer, after a class, a course, he will put the recording onto the internet for free,
mm-hmm.
and anyone can distribute it.
Mm-hmm.
But if the organizer didn't mention agree or not, then the audience make the recording. Would they consider stealing?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so this one, it depends on the mind also. If we have bad intention, we can say this is stealing. If we have good intentions, that means you may think organizers are allowed to record. That's why you record. In this case, it doesn't matter. Okay?
If a canteen in the factory prepare meat for 50 person, 50 worker, so if someone take those meats, would he consider killing, although he didn't kill by himself, but the canteen worker prepare for them? Exactly.
Okay. So in this case, sometimes, you have to arrange for many people, you have to order, right, from the butcher. In this case, because of your order, they will kill animals. Then this is called breaking precepts, panadipata. So you don't need to order, just go to the market, just bring dead body of the animals or just ready-made meat. In this case, we cannot say killing, we cannot say breaking precepts.
Vandamisiado, if someone buy those things which is not paying tax, means escape from paying tax, she buy those things, would they consider agree to stealing? And would he consider stealing precept, consider committing precepts?
Sure. When we buy this kind of thing, sure, it's stealing. And then if you have been to Myanmar, you may know many cars without license. Many motorbike without license. This also stealing, sure.
Vanami said,
no more.
We have one more question, Sedo. Vanami said, if the bhikkhu who telling other people to steal, but the other people, he take the other thing not according to what the bhikkhu instructed, so the bhikkhu not commit parajika, so what are the offense did he commit?
Okay, so that means Yeah, it doesn't mean all the things, right? Just the time, the properties, or the place. He can limit only these three. For other things, other instructions is not according to this kind of stealing. For example, he may instruct to steal many different ways, different methods, for example, right? So that means as long as he asks somebody to steal, this is already a mistake. According to Vinaya, no mistakes. According to Abhidhamma, this is the karma, akusala karma. Okay, now we focus according to Vinaya, right? When we talk about stealing or any other things, we just approach according to Vinaya. But when we talk about karma, it's akusala karma. This is according to Abhidhamma. That's why, although he is not parajika, but this is the akusala karma. We can understand like this. So some other cases, we can say, anadeya in Pali, you must return the price. There are some other cases, right? So sometimes, for example, we may spoil other people's properties, but it's not enough for parajika. We must pay the price of the properties. Right? If we don't pray, this is also another offense. Okay? Ittavadaja amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe saddha numodandu sabba sambati siriya idam me nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadeyo idam me nyatinam hodu Sukhita hondu nyadeyo, idam me nyatinam hodu, Sukhita hondu nyadeyo, idam me punyam, asawakaya waham hodu, idam me punyam, nibbanasa bhajayo hodu, mama punya bhagam, savasadanam bhajemi, te sabbe me samam, punya bhagam lavandu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.